Welcome to the Parma Area Chamber of Commerce podcast. We will be focusing on everything from spotlighting our members to discussing what is happening in the Chamber. This episode is brought to you by Classic Strategic Media. Classic is a proud sponsor of all the efforts of our Chamber. Now let's join the conversation at the Classic Strategic Media Studio in Independence, Ohio.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Parma Area Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, my name is Liesel Darby, and I'm with my divorce diva. Actually, that is me. And I just wanted to talk a little bit today about why somebody would even consider using a divorce coach.
Yeah, so, COVID has put some stress on some marriages. People are locked down in the house together. It can't be good for people that have already had a little rocky relationships.
It's a make or break time.
It is. So what do you do to help these relationships?
I do several things. One of the things that I'm really good at is teaching people how to communicate so that they're not screaming at each other, trying to get their point across and feeling the other person isn't listening to what they're saying. So they can actually have some productive conversations and hopefully get what they want in the end of it. Another thing I do is I teach stress management. And who can't use that, right?
Absolutely.
So this is so that people can actually get a good night's sleep. And it's very important to understand that sleep is plays such a big deal in how we even make it through our days, how you function at work, because the last thing you want to do is lose your job on top of losing your marriage. And just being able to get through life in just a more enjoyable way in any situation, regardless of whether you're getting divorced or not.
So what are some tips you have to help people get a better night's sleep?
Well, one of the first things you can do is if you're having pent-up feelings, please talk about them to somebody. The thing about a divorce coach is that I am a neutral person. I'm not going to judge you. I'm an objective person that you can bounce ideas off of. I can kind of steer you with some suggestions that it's always your choice if you want to try or not. But it's so much better just to say things out loud.
Say it and clear your mind.
Get it out of your head. If you're not going to do that, or even better, in addition to that, I always encourage people to do journaling, and especially gratitude journaling. We all have a filter that we look at life through.
I've been told I don't have a filter.
One of the things is if you have a filter where you're looking for things to be grateful for, knowing that at the end of the day, you want to be able to write down 5 things, no matter if they're tiny things. It puts a different filter on. And when you start to look for things like that, then guess what? You're going to start to find things like that. I remember one of my girlfriends, when she was going through a divorce, she told me she was so grateful that bananas were 32 cents a pound because that was her daughter's favorite breakfast, and she could buy a bunch of bananas, and her daughter was going to be happy for that week. That's a small thing.
Small win.
It makes a big difference. And like I said, it doesn't have to be huge things. In fact, probably the smaller the better, because you will find that many more things go right in your day than go wrong. And there's many, many more things to be thankful for than to complain about.
Yeah, absolutely. My son, he has a little bit of anxiety, and one of the routines where he goes to bed is he has to say something positive that happened for the day. Mm-hmm. So he goes to bed thinking something positive of the day and not going to bed thinking negativity.
Yeah, and I've even done with people that I'm dealing with, if they say something negative, and they hate when I do this, but I'll say, okay, now you have to say something nice. And I won't let them off the hook until they can say something nice. And so I think they may back away from me a little bit because they know that I'm going to hold them accountable for something. And of course, then there's other things like just get some exercise that's basic. But even just walking, you don't have to hit the gym and for an hour and work up a great big sweat. Just go for a walk. Not even a power walk, just a walk. And if you can do it in nature, that's even better. Make sure you're eating right. Like, don't just eat pizza all day, every day, all day, every day. Find something green to put into your diet at some point. And again, be sure you're spending time with friends and family, as long as they're not stressing you out.
Mm-hmm.
And just things that make you feel good. Like, I know a lot of my friends, we like to just sit back with a glass of wine, not too many of that, and just talk about things. Or I like time alone, actually. So for me, just even being able to just sit in a chair and read a really good book I've been looking forward to, or just take a bath. I have to shut the door because I have cats, and you wouldn't believe it, but I get no peace. But just things that you like to do that calm you down or make you feel good. The more you feel good, the more you feel good.
That's great. So let's say someone is going through the divorce. What are some benefits of having the divorce counseling? You already know we're done. We're not reconciling this. But what kind of services? How does that help?
One of the things that is counterintuitive, but using a divorce coach actually lowers your overall divorce bill because it's the conflict that makes the bill high. As long as there's conflict, then you're not settling things and it drags on and on and on, and that's where your money is going to. So being able to have somebody that you can handle the emotional fallout from a divorce is a huge, huge benefit. And like I said earlier, I'm going to teach you how to have productive conversations with your soon-to-be ex and other members of the family or friends even, so that you can move things forward in an amicable way and be able to, I'm going to teach you how to really listen to somebody so that your defenses are not going to be up and you're not hearing what they're saying. And the way that you talk to people is very, very important in how they're going to respond to you. So that's one thing. And again, the stress management part of it. My favorite part is as you move forward, because you're losing your identity as part of a couple, and you may not know who you are outside of a couple. And this probably happens more for women than for men. One of the things that I help them do is to kind of gather up, who are you? What do you like? When somebody else isn't in control of the remote, what do you want to watch? Mm-hmm. Or, I remember when I was married, I never made stuffed peppers because my husband didn't like them. Well, guess what? I love them, and I can make them whenever I want to. And a whole bunch of other things that I didn't.
Redefining your own identity.
Yes, finding yourself. And the other thing I always tell people is don't even consider going back out into the dating pool until you know what your 5 top deal breakers are.
I know that we had a conversation before and we were talking about, like, sometimes people just lean on their friends and nothing but, like, want to talk about their relationship and their divorce, and it really puts a strain on that friend's relationship, too, and that's another great benefit.
Yeah. Friends can only do so much. And although I always go in with this warning, your family and friends want to be on your side, and they will dig into the trenches, and those are good friends, and you need people like that. But if you get to the point where you are trying to work through an agreement and you decide that, I really need to have some sort of amicable relationship with this person, especially if you have kids, you're still going to be in each other's lives for a while. Now that's an extra thing you have to overcome, because sometimes it's really hard for those friends and family to back off and give you that space to be where you need to be. And sometimes when those bridges are burned, and they're not going to accept this person in any way, shape, or form. It just makes it more difficult. Now, please don't think I'm telling you don't talk to your friends, your family. You do need that. But it can be very beneficial to have, like I said, an outside person who is not going to be judgmental of anything, but has maybe a clearer vision of how you can move things forward, or maybe how you could say something differently, or should you say that at all? Or
yeah, your friends and family are always going to be on your side.
They're always going to be on your side. But you also made the point that there's a limit to how much they can hear, and everybody has that limit. Some it's you can tell them once and they don't want to hear it again. Some maybe you can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but that can also work to get you stuck. So just some things to keep in mind.
Plus, you're not trained in that. I had one of my best friends one time. He was going through a divorce. He just found out his wife had an affair. It was a whole deal, and he wanted to talk about it every time we went out to lunch. And I'm like, dude, I feel like you're obsessing about this. Can we talk about the Indians games or this and that? I'm trying to, like, change the subject because I feel like it was just overtaking his life, and it was overtaking our relationship, whereas, like, this is all we're talking about. Your relationship with your wife and how you're trying to get through it. I mean, it was great and all that he wanted to talk about it, but it was at a certain point, it just put a lot of strain on, like, I'm not a professional here. I'm, there's a gray side here that I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah. And I know that anybody who's gone through this, you need to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it, but do it with a person who is that's what they're there for.
Yeah, and you don't want to talk to your lawyer because he's quite expensive per hour.
They're very expensive. And the lawyers don't want to talk about that. They want to do their lawyer stuff. A lawyer's job is to start dividing up assets, figuring out child support, spousal support, who's going to, what's the visitation schedule going to be like. They don't really want to sit there and listen to you complain about how you want revenge, and maybe some of them do, but but that's not their main role. And you are talking to somebody at a much higher rate per hour than a divorce coach.
So where do people find more information about you?
I have a website, www.mydivorcediva.com. I've got some videos on there. I've got information on how to reach me. If you want to schedule an appointment, talk to me. I do free 15-minute conversations. See if I can be of any assistance to you. Please call me.
All right, awesome. Was that a Zoom call?
We can do a Zoom call.
Zoom or old school phone?
See, I'm still getting used to Zoom. Everything I do right now is through Zoom.
Okay,
But
awesome.
it's
So schedule a Zoom call.
Schedule a Zoom call. Let's do it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Chris.
And you guys have a great day.
Oh, thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Parma Area Chamber of Commerce podcast. We would like to thank our sponsor, Classic Strategic Media. Please subscribe to our podcast to be notified when new episodes are released.